Okay, everybody, I'd like to start again, and our webinar audience, we're going to start. Just to refresh your memory, this is Peter Stoms. He's based here locally, and you are responsible for Hawaii-Kai to Honolulu?
Yeah, basically my area of responsibility on Oahu is Hawaii-Kai to the international airport, which is, as you can imagine, a considerable amount of accounts. And then I also handle the island of Kauai. My counterpart, Ryan Sakai, handles the east and west side and north side of Oahu, as well as the rest of the outer islands.
So I would add, I've traveled with Ryan to the Big Island to do a seminar there where he spoke on logistics at an Export University event. So I know the UPS team works together very closely. And if you have any issues, then, for example, Peter's traveling or what have you, somebody else will be able to help you. They seem to work together very, very closely. So with that, I'll start with Peter. And we have about another half hour or so. Please save your questions, even for Carter. Please save them until the end, and I promise we'll get all the questions answered. And then even at the end, if you'd like to have a little one-on-one time, we'll have a table in the back there where you can sit down and ask very specific questions to them. And they have business cards. We'll be able to follow up with them later. But also, they have a contest going with the soccer ball and what have you. So please take good notes because there'll be a quiz at the end. All right, please go ahead, Peter. Thank you.
All right. Well, first off, thank you for the opportunity. We're excited about this. We're excited to work with you. Again, in the end, feel free to ask as many questions as you need. We understand shipping internationally can be a little intimidating. To be honest with you, when I was new to the industry, it was intimidating, but through experience and practice and knowledge base, you gain that confidence to ship internationally. It is quite different than shipping domestically, and we'll get into that in the slides that I'm going to present. So again, my specialty is really on the small parcel side of the business, also known as small package. You can ship anything from a letter with me, a next day air letter, 2-day air letter with me, to corrugated typical brown box that weighs up to 150 pounds. So within the small parcel network, you can ship up to 150 pounds per box. Your total shipment weight with me can be as much as you want it to be. You can ship 10 150-pound boxes within the small parcel network. That's completely fine. But as Carter was talking about, at some point there's going to be a sweet spot where it becomes more affordable for you to start using air freight because they're really there, or ocean freight because they're really there to start moving those large bulk shipments. So a little bit about what I specialize in. A little bit about myself. In Hawaii, it always helps to kind of warm it up a little bit with a little introduction of yourself and where you come from. So again, my name is Peter Stoms. I was actually born and raised in Hawaii. I graduated from Mid-Pac in Manoa and moved to the Northwest after graduating from high school in '99 and attended Oregon State University. And in Oregon is where I obtained my undergraduate degree as well as my master's degree. And I started working with UPS and actually got hired in Portland, Oregon as an account manager back in 2007. So it's amazing, it's been 10 years already, but I did have the privilege of moving back home to Hawaii in 2012, and it's great to be back home and close to family and friends. So again, why go global, right? Why export? The reality of today's market is that our domestic market is becoming oversaturated, and as you can see in the slide, well over 95% of the world's consumer population exists outside the United States. So more than ever, now is the time to export and take your products globally. Why? Because it helps you to increase your top line revenue growth. And if you grow as a business, we grow as a company, it's really a win-win across the board. What this map does is just very quickly puts things into perspective by markets outside of the US population. Many of you are aware of this already, but the bottom line is that there's strength in numbers and numbers being consumers, and your target market should be focused outside of the US. That's where businesses are concentrating in this day and age. We are more than ever a global economy. So just a little bit on the next slide about a summary of the UPS reaching capabilities. I know Carter commented on this a little bit as well, but again, we want to emphasize it because UPS is really that one-stop shop. That's what helps us to make us unique compared to other carriers. Whether you want to move a helicopter with Carter or a heavyweight shipment, or you can ship a letter with me, or your typical brown boxes that you receive from Amazon, we can basically move anything you need us to move. We do export to service on my side of the business to over 220 countries and territories worldwide. And the nice thing with UPS is, especially on the package side, which is my side, the small parcel side, we keep control of your product in our network. We're very asset-based, and that allows us to keep control of the product. We're not handing it off often to other carriers or other modes of transportation, therein lessening the potential for damage or lost shipments. On the next slide here, again, a little bit more about the global reach of UPS. Our goal is to make life simpler for you as a global company. You're sitting here because you want to go global, and that's our goal for you too. Quite simply, wherever you need us to be, we're delivering over 18 million packages and documents every day across the globe. So we have a huge footprint, and we have a lot of capabilities. Our aircraft fleet has over 230 planes, but on any given day, there's actually 500 jets on average in the air that are operating on our behalf. Some are our own fleet, which are considered brown tails, as Carter had mentioned, as well as commercial airlines where we contract with them to give us commercial lift on especially lanes. Lanes are, from the United States to Japan would be a lane. So on very busy lanes, we tend to contract out for commercial lift on commercial airlines. We have close to 100,000 branded vehicles on the streets, and as you can all imagine, I don't know if I've ever seen a dirty UPS truck. We pride ourselves on keeping our trucks very clean. Our company has that global presence through UPS, you can really have that global presence as well. We offer you a very simple proposition: let UPS undertake the capital investment to provide your business the infrastructure and the supply chain needed to go global, allowing you to focus on selling your products globally, helping your top line revenue, right? So moving on to the next slide. So what are your options when you're looking at small parcel services? Really here, as you can see, we have our options for small package or small parcel services listed from fastest to most economical. You do have your UPS Express Plus. As you can imagine, the quicker the service, the more costly the service is. But we do have a very economical service as well listed at the bottom, which is UPS Worldwide Expedited, which covers many countries, all the major countries and destinations you'll probably be headed to. Expedited time in transit, 2 to 5 business days. All time in transit's always quoted in business days, so it's Monday through Friday, even though sometimes we work on Saturdays. And then you have your fastest services listed above there, which is 1 to 3 business days. These are all guaranteed services. So what I mean by guarantee is we put our money where our mouth is. So if we're late on delivering your package by date or time, even if we're 1 minute late on those time-specific services where we guarantee it 10:30 a.m. If we deliver at 10:31, you can call us up and you can request a credit for your transportation costs. So actually credit you back on your transportation costs. We won't credit you back on the fuel surcharge because it still costs us fuel to get it there, but the fuel surcharge is a minimal cost compared to the overall transportation cost. Transportation costs like 99% of your costs. So again, we put our money where our mouth is. We take it very serious. All of my services are guaranteed. One service that is not listed up there that I will just talk about briefly is called UPS Critical. It's not often used in the industry, and a lot of people aren't aware of it, but I did want to familiarize you with that service. UPS Critical is literally a white glove service. So it's there for your urgent shipment needs, if it's extreme high value, or if it's time sensitive. Some of the a specific industry that often uses UPS Critical is the healthcare industry, when we're moving, lab specimens that can spoil and that are, one of a kind. And so in those cases, people take advantage of our critical service. With that UPS Critical Service, we do utilize a next flight out departure schedule. So we'll literally get it on the next jet out. And in those cases, we do usually use commercial lift because we have a very strict schedule on our brown tail jets. But as you know, anytime you're in an airport, there's constantly flights coming and going throughout the nation and the world. And we'll literally, if we need to, we have UPS employees on standby that will hand carry your package onto that jet and hand carry it and deliver it to that door in Hong Kong, as an example. So really, we have a variety of services. That's what I want you to gather from this, from very fast to very economical, and it's all guaranteed. On the next slide, we're gonna take a look at a video. What this video is gonna show you is, what really happens behind the scenes after your package is picked up or dropped off to UPS, and kind of the intricacies of that, and what happens from pickup to delivery.
It's this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, bear with me.
When you're ready to ship a package, you often bring it to a UPS store like this one. But what happens to your package after you drop it off? Let's find out. Last year, UPS, the world's largest package delivery company, delivered over 3.5 billion packages around the world. That's almost 15 million parcels, letters, and documents a day. HowStuff Works recently paid a visit to Louisville, Kentucky, the site of Worldport, UPS's main air shipping terminal. Worldport sorts nearly 1 million packages a day. Before the packages get here, they have a couple of steps to go through. Once your package is in the hands of UPS, an employee fixes a smart label containing all of its shipping information. Then an employee scans the label into a system that tracks it every step of the way. Next, it's off to a local UPS center for what you might call a mini sorting. Employees quickly prepare overnight packages traveling under 200 miles. They pack up packages traveling farther than that into a UPS shipping pod. Then a plane flies them onto Worldport or another regional gateway. Opened in 2002, Worldport covers 550 acres and sorts about 300,000 packages per hour, most between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. And while computers do almost all of the actual sorting, it still takes roughly 4,000 employees to make things work. Every night, employees at Worldport sort the contents of nearly 100 planes and 500 big rigs. Once the planes dock, workers move the pods into the buildings. Each pod weighs up to 2,000 pounds, but thanks to custom caster flooring, 2 people can move them. Human hands touch a typical package only twice while at Worldport, during pod loading and unloading. Computers control every other step. Essentially, the unloader's main job is to make sure the package goes on the conveyor belt label side up. This way, as each package passes through a tunnel, a camera can scan, photograph, and catalog the label into a database. At the same time, sensors weigh and measure the box. The shape and weight of each package determines which of 3 systems the package enters: parcels, smalls, or irregulars. This information also regulates the speed of the conveyor belts and the spacing between the packages. The packages then go down a maze of 17,000 different conveyor belts, totaling over 122 miles. This intricate and highly organized process quickly screens, scans, and sorts packages, grouping them by ever narrower location divisions: country, state, city, and zip code, sometimes even down to the street or block. Despite all these levels of intricacy, most packages are in and out of the building in less than 15 minutes. Now that the packages are thoroughly organized, employees hand pack them into the proper pods and load them back onto the plane. Then they're flown out. The Operations Planning Control Room at Worldport coordinates each pod's delivery location, sending planes out to local and regional service centers all around America and the world. Once they arrive, employees unpack the pods and load the packages into the more than 90,000 cars, trucks, motorcycles, and other assorted vehicles that UPS uses to make their deliveries. Finally, a UPS driver scans the smart label to finish the delivery and let everyone know that the package has officially arrived. So now you've seen the whole process, from the store to the door. I'm Marshall Brain, and that's how UPS works.
Thank you, Rob. So again, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, as you can see, with a lot of packages on a daily basis. It can be intimidating seeing that and going global and exporting for the first time. So again, Carter and I are your account managers. We're dedicated to your accounts. We're locally based. We're here to answer your questions, meet with you, strategize with you, share industry information with you to help give you that confidence to ship internationally. In addition to that, what we do also have is the UPS International Welcome Program. Rob will be pulling that up soon. But what the UPS International Welcome Program does is it's again for new international shippers, and we will guide you through your first 12 weeks of international shipping. It doesn't mean it ends after 12 weeks. You always still have Carter and I on board indefinitely. And so really, I'm a real big fan of this International Welcome Program. One more slide down. And what that international program does is it was launched in October 2007, and I sign up all of my new clients on the International Welcome Program. The point of the program, it's designed to proactively train, support, and nurture you as you get up and running shipping internationally. So again, giving you that confidence, giving you somebody at your fingertips to answer all your questions and assist you with getting your products beyond US borders to the majority of the consumer global market, right? The international program will also assign you with a dedicated sales representative, in addition to me and Carter, out of the 48 states. The nice thing is they're literally there to ask and answer any questions that you have, and they're there basically on the same time schedule that we work with here. They do work later in the evenings there than we do here to accommodate the time change. But again, it's excellent because it really helps you to, again, get you off and running in the right direction with the right information and the confidence you need to move forward. On the next slide, brokerage. So again, UPS is the largest broker in the world. I was asked an excellent question earlier during the break about brokerage and customs. Brokerage and customs are two separate entities. Really look at customs as a revenue generator for that country. Customs is there to make money for that country where your product is entering to. The brokerage piece is really there to work with customs to assure that they get the correct paperwork to clear your package and get it into your customer as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So the nice thing with UPS is you have options. You can use us as your broker, which we recommend, because what that does is it really helps you to keep your product in-house with us. It allows us to keep more control over your product, work with customs, and then also help clear your product in a timely manner. So UPS brokerage, again, world's largest broker, 97% of our packages, so millions of packages, are cleared on the same day. So there's no delay. We do allow you, if you have a special business relationship with another broker, by all means, we'll give you that option to use that broker. But again, you're going to add a little bit of a layer of complexity to the clearing of the customs, because now you're using a third party instead of keeping it in-house. But if you want to do that, by all means, go for it. The transportation rate that we quote you also does include the brokerage costs, so there's not another line item of costs associated with brokerage on the small package side when we're clearing your package with UPS. We take care of the details from completing the initial assessment on the duties and fees and local laws to helping with licensing processes and clearing shipments at the destination so you can focus on international growth. That includes navigating the complex world of government agencies, each with their own specific sets of rules and regulations. So we basically take that work off of your table and we do it for you as your broker. Another slide here on UPS brokerage. Every broker is rated internationally, and UPS brokerage has a 98% compliance rating, which means we have the customs credentials and expertise to help your business reduce mistakes and avoid expensive errors. We're kind of like the babysitter. That's how I would look at it. We're there to make sure the correct paperwork is in place even before it leaves the point of origin, and we're there to work with customs to clear that package on your behalf. The size of your business shouldn't determine the length of your reach, and that's why you want to partner with a company like UPS. As one of the largest customs brokers, we can help you navigate the challenging regulations, clarify trade intricacies, maintain compliance, and keep your shipments moving through customs and cross borders. We're here to help you gain the confidence and competitive advantage that you're looking for. The next slide here really is just a simplistic view of what happens. It's a simplistic illustration of what occurs step by step with your package, kind of give you a visual to focus on. So again, in that video we saw, the customer was actually dropping their package off at a UPS store, and the UPS store is putting the label on the box. You're by all means have the capabilities, and we can set you up with the capabilities to process your own shipments at your house, if that's your place of business, or at your warehouse. Wherever your business is located, we can allow you to have the capabilities to process your own shipments and put your own labels on your boxes. But essentially, you get your box, you put your label on it, the package car picks it up, our driver, then it goes to an ODC checkpoint. ODC stands for Origin Data Capture, and we have one at our hub off of Lagoon Drive here. Their goal and their whole purpose is to reduce customs holds. So when your package comes to us, we're going to be checking to make sure you have your commercial invoice filled out correctly. We're going to make sure that if there is a license based on the commodity type you're shipping, that you have that license paperwork. So basically that's another checks and balances in the process that we implement to make sure that your package gets delivered in a timely manner. The package is then checked, paperwork, gets onto a jet, travels around the world, hits customs for reviews and documentation. They assess a duty and tax, gets back into a package truck somewhere in a foreign country, gets handed over to your receiver. And you have options here, and we'll talk about this further down the road. You have options to have your shipment paid for up front with the duties and taxes, or we can collect the duties and taxes upon delivery. So those are some things to keep in mind as far as how you want to process that shipment, how you want to market your product as a landed cost to your foreign buyer, because I can tell you that's a lot more attractive. If I'm buying something from Canada, I'm buying an Aloha shirt from Canada, which they probably don't sell, bad example. But anyway, if I'm buying an Aloha shirt from Canada and I'm on that website and I'm making that purchase, let's say the Aloha shirt costs $50, but when they show up to deliver that Aloha shirt to my door and they ask me for $25 additional for duties and taxes, that can catch your consumer off guard. That can result in no return business, that can result in a return shipment, and depending on how you run your business, you may hit the receiver with that return shipment cost, or you may eat that return shipment cost, which then obviously affects your profit margins, right? So again, being able to provide a landed cost up front is very critical when dealing with other countries. Next, we have another short video about processing international shipments.
Okay, as usual, bear with me.
UPS presents How to Ship Internationally. Shipping internationally can seem foreign, but it all comes down to a few basic steps. When you get an international order, start by verifying there are no service restrictions or prohibited goods in your country of destination. Then, review the international services and select one that fits your schedule and budget. Next up, choose an international billing option that works with your business model. After that, reduce the red tape that comes with shipping internationally with UPS Tradeability. These web-based features can help you stay in compliance and reduce the risk of delays and penalties. Plus, with UPS Paperless Invoice, you can electronically submit your customs forms so you can clear customs faster. Now that your shipment is ready to go, prepare your international shipping label online. Just pay with a credit card or through your UPS account, then schedule a pickup or drop it off at a UPS location. With the right tools and services, you'll be fluent in international shipping in no time. For helpful shipping tips, go to ups.com/helpcenter.
So again, it was very short and concise, but again, we're trying to simplify this. We don't want to overwhelm you because we're here as your partner to guide you through those steps, answer your questions, and make sure we get your products to your consumers internationally in a timely and efficient manner. The next slide that we have is about UPS Paperless Invoice. That video that we just saw did comment on that. UPS Paperless Invoice is unique to UPS, and it is patented technology. So with UPS Paperless Invoice, when we're talking about paperless invoice, we're talking about making your commercial invoice for customs purposes paperless, right? We're making it electronic. Basically, how the process would work right now, if you're not on UPS Paperless Invoice, is that you process your international shipment on our software. You get your label, you put your label on the box, and then 3 hard copy commercial invoices will print out with that. You have to sign and date each one. Then you have to put a transparent sticky pouch on the side of your box, and you fold those 3 commercial invoices and you put it in the pouch on the side of the box. It's kind of a pain in the neck. So what UPS did was they took your 3 commercial invoices and they made it electronic. So the interesting thing is that what that does is basically when the driver comes and picks up that package and scans it with that board you all see drivers scan with, when he scans that package, it immediately takes that information on your package that you entered when you were processing that shipment and sends it to the customs country, and the customs and the broker that your package is destined for. So even before your package leaves Hawaii, customs and brokerage already knows what's coming, what's in the box, what is it made out of, what is it used for, and the estimated value. So it really helps to streamline that package so that when the package arrives at customs and brokerage, it just walks right through. And that's the most important piece. The next slide is another paper. This is an example. So you have your what's called a smart label here, which contains package level detail, PLD. And the second label here that has the word sample over the barcode, that is your paperless invoice. So it's very simple, it's very streamlined. The number one reason for customs hold is missing invoice or an invoice not filled out correctly. How does a invoice go missing? It's when you do the hard copy version and you put them in the pouch on the side of the box, and what happens sometimes while that package is in transit is that pouch can get ripped off the side of the box. There's a lot going on in our networks when packages are traveling down conveyor belt systems. There's hands touching boxes, and at times, unfortunately, a pouch can get ripped off the side of the box. This totally eliminates that. So again, number one reason for customs holds is missing commercial invoices or commercial invoices with a lack of description. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that also. As far as the description of your goods, when you're filling out your commercial invoice for customs purposes, you need to ask yourself 3 questions. And you need to ask yourself, does my description answer these 3 questions? It's very simple. The 3 questions are, what is it? So what are you shipping? What is it made out of? and was it used for? If your description can answer those 3 questions, your package, I will guarantee you, will not be held for customs for a lack of description. So as an example, a men's collared shirt. So what is it? It's a men's collared shirt. What is it made out of? Let's just say cotton. And what is it used for? Casual business attire. So your description would be men's cotton collared shirt for casual business attire. That answers all 3 of those questions. Your package, I guarantee you, will not be held by customs for lack of description. All right, next slide. Quantum View Quantum View suite of technology solutions. So on average, UPS invests $1 billion a year in our technology. Because why? It helps us as an organization, it helps you as a consumer. All the technology and things I'm going to be talking to you about now in this portion of the presentation are for free. We don't charge you for it. We give it to you at your fingertips to, again, give you confidence, give you the information that you need to move forward. So basically, Quantum View Notify takes place when you're processing your shipment. And what that allows you to do is input the receiver's email address or phone number. And what they can do then is they receive alerts when that package is processed. If there's an exception on the package, for whatever reason, there could be a tsunami or whatever, but if there's an exception causing a delayed in delivery date, they will receive an alert that the package has been delayed due to an exception, and it'll also give them a notification when that package is delivered. So the point of Quantum View Notify is that it keeps the customer from calling you and asking you where their package is, right? You can concentrate on growing your business, marketing your product internationally, and selling more. Quantum View Data is a data file of raw data of your shipment history that allows you to run queries and reports, whether it's accounting purposes or somebody needs a specific report run. We'll give you all your data based on your shipment history based from your account numbers. Quantum View Manage is a tracking tool. Everybody loves this tool. I kind of describe it to similar to being the dashboard of your car. Dashboard of your car basically tells you everything that's going on with your car, your fuel, your miles per gallon, your gas, your speed. Quantum View Manage is very similar to that. It provides you clear visibility of your entire supply chain, whether your packages are being shipped via small package or small parcel on my side. It's the same tracking tool that Carter's side of the business utilizes, as well as our freight division. So it's all encompassing for all services, domestically, inbound and outbound, and internationally for imports and exports. This next slide will show you just a brief screenshot of what Quantum View Manage looks like. So at the top, you have your tabs. You have a combined tab that will combine your outbound, your inbound, your third party, and your imports view. I recommend if you're globally selling, which obviously you folks all want to do, break it out by tabs: outbound, inbound, third party, imports. Really at the top you have your date range, so you can contrast or expand your date range for the shipments that you're looking for. And then you can even fine tune that date range further by the search fields, such as if you don't remember the tracking number, but you do remember the receiver's name, you can type in the enter search text the receiver's name, apply the filter, and only shipments going to that receiver on those dates that you specified will then appear below. The top box here is a summary of your outbound shipments because it is on the outbound tab. Really gives you a clear, concise view of what's going on your outbound side of your package. As you can see, you have your forwarding account number, which is Carter, your package account number, and then your freight account number. Freight is truckload moves on the 48 states, you know, those big semis that you see on the 48 on the freeways. So that's another division that we also work with. Below the summary section, you have your shipment detail section, which basically tells you and references the tracking numbers. Any international documents you have will make images of it so that you can view them. And then it'll also give you a status of your shipment. Is it been picked up, in transit, or delivered, or is there an exception? And then the rest is pretty self-explanatory. So So I just wanted to provide you a visual view. The nice thing is, again, because you're working with a large transportation company, we have all modes of transportation, and all modes of transportation can be utilized through this tool. So we try to keep it very simple, same interface. Moving along, tradability. Tradability is another tool that we offer you. Again, I'm showing you the tools that we can provide you to help give you that confidence and keep the information at your fingertips should you have questions. Also, obviously, me and Carter are always here too to help you out. Again, whether it's quantum view managed, quantum view data, quantum view notify, if it's tradability, if it's paperless invoice, these are all free for you to take advantage of. There's no cost for these tools. Tradability really is simply gives you free access to regulations and forms as well as an estimated landed cost before your shipment leaves the dock. That's important. UPS Tradability is a value-added service provided on UPS.com. All you need to do is have your UPS account number, which Carter and I would set you up with, and then you establish a user ID and a password, which would be your login credentials to UPS.com, which then gives you access to the tool. It keeps you up to date with customs regulations, tariffs, and helps steer you clear of potential issues. It's a suite of information based on services for the international shipper. It helps you to confidently manage the movement of your goods in a timely and efficient and, most importantly, compliant manner. It can help you improve regulatory compliance, reduce operating expenses, and streamline your trade processes with your global supply chain. It allows you to receive global information updated on a timely basis and stay in the know on new security compliance initiatives, trade agreements, customs regulations, duty rates, and import and export processes. Through tradability, you can also, if you don't know what your harmonized tariff code is, also known as a Schedule B number, which customs utilizes to assess a duty or tax rate to your commodity. Tradability, you can look it up based on a description of your commodity, and it can help you identify that harmonized tariff code, also known as a Schedule B number. Okay, so what is the international consumer experience? Next slide, please. And what is the international consumer looking for? UPS takes this very serious. Just as I told you, the domestic market's saturated. It's saturated for us too. I mean, we are pouring in tremendous amounts of investment capital to building our footprint and our reach globally and working with our clientele to push them to go global. Because there is the consumer, the largest amount of consumers are obviously outside of the US. So what are some of the top international consumers looking for? This is very important. I can't stress that to you enough. 76% of 76% of international consumers want a total cost of their order by separate line item, and they want to know what their duties and taxes are up front. They don't like getting that surprise knock knock, here's your package, you owe me another $45. That often results in return or rejected deliveries. And then you got to deal with the return shipment back. Very important to keep that in mind. Again, tradability can help you to estimate a landed cost. You can provide an estimate on your shopping cart when your international consumer is checking out. And as long as it's within range, they're always happy. They just don't like the rude awakening of additional money needing to be collected upon delivery of the package. 73% of consumers want their price represented in their home currency. You're selling out of Hawaii, but you might be selling to somebody in Japan. It helps to provide that landed cost in Japanese currency, yen. 62% of consumers want options of speed of delivery. So don't just give them one option. Give them options. They may want it quicker than you think they may want it. They may want to pay the more economic solution, being UPS Worldwide Expedited Service. Keep that in mind. What I did do is I took a snapshot of a local business. I'm not going to tell you who they are because that's not very nice of me. But this little snapshot, I'm going to read it to you. And then you can let me know what you think if you're an international buyer and you read that, and whether or not you would buy their product. So international prices do not include customs duties or applicable local sales taxes. Duties and sales taxes are the responsibility of the recipient and are based on each country's import regulation. Please contact your local customs office for more information about duties and taxes. All duties and taxes will need to be settled at the time of delivery. Shipping costs for a returned or refused package will be charged to the original credit card used for payment. I'll tell you, if I was an international buyer and I read that, I would abandon the shopping cart immediately, right? So this is not the image we want to portray to an international buyer. We want to give them a landed cost, ideally in their currency, and we want to give them options for delivery speed. UPS, next slide please. So expand globally through iGlobal. So we talked about tradability, that's free for you to use. iGlobal is a third party that we've partnered with. I have clients that have utilized iGlobal. They do like it. I'll let you read through these highlights of what iGlobal can do. But essentially iGlobal is a separate business from UPS. However, they are a partner, and we work to help customers increase their international sales. iGlobal Stores is a single point of interface to everything necessary for cross-border e-commerce success. You can log into iGlobal Stores. You're logging into proprietary technology developed by experts in the international e-commerce. You receive fraud control, real-time shipping rates, as well as accurate landed cost and assimilated product codes, carrier fees, delivery statuses, the ability to print labels through iGlobal, and profit margins and landed costs again. So this is kind of a one-stop shop if you don't want to, for instance, figure out your own duties and tax rate. You can utilize this software and build it into your shopping cart to really give your customers that foreign buying experience that they're looking for. There is a cost to iGlobal. It's on the next slide. But we can work with you on that cost. We do have a tool called the Customer Technology Program, CTP program. So basically what we can do is help you to subsidize that cost to really minimize your out-of-pocket expenses and get you up and running, because we definitely see it as a win-win. Because it is not our software and they're a partner, obviously there is a cost to it, which is charged by the iGlobal store side of the business. But what we do is we come in and help supplement that cost. So it's not a large out-of-pocket expense. Again, they talk about what customers are looking to obtain with an international buying experience. On the next slide is just a quick visual of what iGlobal looks like on a website. Notice it says, "Thanks for visiting Portugal," so they know immediately what country the consumer is shopping from. The software really helps you as a foreign buyer to feel welcome. It gives the customer the option to prepay their duties and taxes in their local currency, multiple payment options, as well as shipping options. So again, those three main areas that top international customers are looking for from an experience point of view is going to be given to you through iGlobal. And then the next slide is just a shopping cart snapshot for an origin country out of Canada. What you see here is the cost total, separate line item. Then you have a separate line item for the service level they chose. As you can see, there are multiple service levels given. And then you have a separate line item for your duties and taxes. Pay attention to the dollar amounts. You're gonna have sticker shock. It's just an example. But as you can see, it's very clearly listed out by line items, and that's what the global consumer is really looking for. Rounding this up here, I appreciate your patience in staying with me. Lastly, we do have a special offer for a flat 65% off for shipments going to Hong Kong. Like Carter mentioned, we're the only carrier that has a next day, was it next day or 2 day? Next day, right?
It's a nonstop direct flight.
Nonstop direct flight to Hong Kong out of Oahu. Quickest one out of Hawaii. and we have very aggressive pricing in place. You can always reach out to any of us to get you some quotes and talk about that further. So that's really it. If there's one thing that I would like you to take away from today, is that UPS is not just about transportation. Take away that mindset. I want you all to know that we truly are about logistics, a combination of a robust supply chain, technology, giving you the solutions at your fingertips, service options, account representation by me and Carter and my other partners to help you grow your business. We're eager to help you and understand what's out there because we've worked with practically every industry. I mean, I work with the healthcare industry, the retail industry, the real estate industry. I mean, we're moving fresh fish for the high-end sushi restaurants from Oahu to New York with next day air guaranteed service. We're moving ice cream from Hawaii across the nation and keeping it in a chilled environment. So, bring us your challenges, bring us your products, and we'll work with you. And that's really it. Thank you so much. We appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Thank you. Carter, can I ask you to come up and stand next to Peter for questions so that we're sharing the same microphone? I'm bringing up this slide because this is a good representation of the many steps that are involved in the shipping process. And the reason I asked UPS to present today is because I know that they can do all of this as one company, from picking it up from you to delivering it to your customer. If you have the wherewithal and the time and the energy, you can sort out these individual pieces and say, for example, hire a different freight forwarder than a customs broker, and you can manage your shipment all the way through. I just think that for most of the small companies that we at HiSTEP are educating on the export process, it's much easier to get a company such as UPS to do this for you. It's much more efficient and in the end probably cost effective. But I would leave that up to you to certainly go out and try to manage your shipments by your own and then see for yourself, excuse me, how does that compare to what a UPS can do for you. So with that, I thank you again for excellent presentations, but let's open it up to questions, and please feel free to ask any questions whatsoever. I have several already from the online audience, but let's start here with the live audience. If anybody has a question, please repeat it so that the webinar audience can hear what the question is. Anyone, please.
For small packages, you said that's up to 150 pounds. Is there a size limitation to that, and what is that?
Yeah, there is a size limitation. It's 165 inches in length, if I'm not mistaken. So once you start getting to bulky, long, odd-shaped items, and we can talk about that, it's really a case-by-case scenario, especially when items become very fragile. Sometimes you're better off putting it in the freight forwarding because then you can palletize it and move that item on an individual pallet versus running through our hubs on the small package side, which has a lot of belt systems, right? So to answer your question, 165 inches in length, but it's really a case-by-case scenario, and we're happy to talk to you each about what you're looking to ship and what those actual sizes are, and then we'll steer you to Carter or myself.
In the back, please. Can you point the microphone at the
I have a quick question on the LCLs. Is that like a consolidation service that you provide?
So the question was, the LCL is a consolidated service? Is that it? Yeah, of course. So yeah, so we're going to take a container and fill it up, basically stuff it to the gill. So that's why, again, if it's if it's really fragile, I wouldn't put it in the ocean anyways, to be honest. But that's where packaging becomes more important. So that's where cost, right? That, like I said, I think if you can usually utilize about 60% of a container, you're better off buying the container. So, but again, there's a lot of ifs and a lot of boths, I guess, my answer there. But it just really depends on case by case. But LCL is a consolidated service. So if you're going to move just 2 pallets, you're going to be in there with other pallets going to the same destination. And then from there, we're going to open that container up at the container freight station and then break it up from there. Or if you get a container, we're going to take it all the way to that end point. so it won't be touched until they open it back up. So that's something to consider as well.
Is the iGlobal integrated with Shopify?
So the question was, is iGlobal integrated with Shopify? It should have that capability. I know that Shopify is very popular. I have a couple of clients on it. The clients of mine that have signed up with iGlobal were not on Shopify. However, I'm almost positive it is, but I can confirm for you. I can give you a business card and we can exchange contact information. But more than likely it is.
That was one of the questions that came in from the webinar audience.
Yeah, Shopify is
Specific to Shopify.
very popular these days, and it would only make sense for them to be able to accommodate that software. So excellent question, and I would say more than likely it is.
Sure. Randy?
Yeah, when I think about domestic or international package delivery or freight forwarding, of course I think about UPS and FedEx Express, and I'm sure you guys studied your competition, FedEx Express. So what is your competitive advantage, or what differentiates you guys from FedEx Express, if I were to choose?
So I guess on the freight forwarding piece, the question was what separates us from FedEx, right? So when you think about shipping in America, generally FedEx and UPS. So Peter can talk about the specifics of small parcel. I already touched on it, right? So in the freight forwarding world, there's a lot of competitors. FedEx is not a top freight forwarder by any stretch. That's not news to anybody. That's not knocking them. We're not the top freight forwarder either. We're a top 10 air freight forwarder. I believe a top 15 ocean freight forwarder. So there's a lot more competition out there than just FedEx. So I would say on my day-to-day, FedEx is the main competitor less than 10% of the time. So they're definitely growing it. Just similar, we're a little bit more ahead. We've been doing it a little bit longer. Again, the advantages for UPS, I think generally throughout all our networks are our service, our networking technology. Depending on the lane you're looking for, there may be, certainly, like I said, our Hong Kong flight's a perfect example of that, right? We're the only one going to Hong Kong direct. So it's going to depend on your business as well. Now, if ABC competitor has a direct flight to Shanghai and we don't, yeah, that's tough for us to compete with. So it's really case by case. But really, I think from a local perspective, what I position from a forwarding perspective is that, there's me here locally on the island, and then there's 6 people right by the airport that have all, I think, over 120 years experience in freight forwarding. So a little background on UPS freight forwarding. We bought out Menlo in 2001. So we've basically been at it for about 15 years. We bought our first planes in 1988. So we're adjusting to it as well. But really, it's about our local service more than anything. When you call UPS freight forwarding, it's an 808 phone number. So if you're calling FedEx, DHL, you're generally getting the mainland. And that's not to knock them at all, but it's a lot easier dealing with someone right down the road. It's a little bit easier. But Peter can talk about FedEx.
Sure,
Yes.
absolutely. So the differences about UPS and FedEx on the small parcel side, from a local perspective, just like Carter was talking about, we do have a local group of 5 ladies that just cater to our clientele base here in Hawaii. It's an 808 number. That allows me to win actually a lot of business because people don't like calling 1-800 numbers and talking to people on the mainland here. In addition to that, there's a lot of specifics. I'll share some. When it comes to your returns portfolio, if you ever have to do any returns, we have the most robust returns portfolio in the industry. When it comes to international shipping, we have the most services available with the earliest time commitments. So again, like Carter was saying, our services are more robust with more options. By all means, FedEx is a good company. I never badmouth the competition. But when it comes to service, returns, shipment, export options, we have the earliest time commitments domestically as well for next day air to the most zip codes nationwide. And then we also have the UPS Capital piece. We haven't, Carter actually touched on it a little bit. The UPS Capital piece is really the financial arm of UPS, which none of our competition has. We offer lending. We offer true underwritten insurance policies. We can offer in-transit financing. So if you have, let's say, $500,000 of cash tied up on inventory in the ocean with Carter, we can lend you a line of credit based on that collateral to help you with your cash flow. So again, the UPS Capital arm, those are just a couple of things we offer through UPS Capital. But again, I'm happy to dive in with each of you into UPS Capital further, should there be more interest on the financing or financial and insurance piece of your transportation model. But those are just a couple of examples. Also, UPS paperless invoice, with keeping your commercial invoice electronic instead of having 3 hard copies, that could potentially result in a customs hold. So those are just a couple of examples. Thank you, though.
Excuse me, that leads into one of the questions nicely. Can you help, or you personally, but UPS help with drafting commercial invoices? I think a lot of first-time exporters are pretty nervous about the commercial.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the question is can UPS assist with drafting up a commercial invoice? And the answer to that is absolutely. That is something that I do at least once every other week. I mean, it's very common. It's very straightforward. We do have some guidance and paperwork we can also provide for quick reference, but you always have me, and I always provide my clients my cell phone number. We also have the International Welcome Program that I spoke about, right? It's a 12-week program where you literally get a dedicated person to address and answer all your international questions, whether it's how do I find a harmonized tariff code in relation to this product I want to ship, how do I fill out a commercial invoice, what service option would be the best for me depending on my customer's required delivery date. I mean, everything and anything international, that's what that International Welcome Program is. It's really to cater to those first-time international shippers and give them the confidence that they need to get up and running. Great question.
So are we still the only country doing pounds versus metric system? And does that matter anymore because all the computers convert it? Because I just did my first commercial invoice and I was like, well, I might as well do kilos. And does it make it easier or faster?
Great question, Michelle. Good seeing you again. The question was, are we the only country on pounds versus the rest of the world being in kilos? I think there's one other country that does pounds. I can't even name it. Everybody else is on kilos to answer your question. Oh, I'm sorry? The UK, there we go. My dad actually just mentioned that the other day to me and I already forgot.
The important thing on mine that I see is you want to be consistent. So if it's commercial invoices in pounds and then the packing list is in kilos, that might be a red flag. So
Yeah.
whatever you're using, just be consistent. Because you're right, I mean, conversions are pretty 2.2.
Again, good question. In our software where you process your shipments internationally, it gives you the option to choose either one. So as long as there's consistency, you're going to be fine. You can choose whichever you want to. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, sir.
Do you do any return shipments from foreign country? In other words, something that's made there, shipped here?
Absolutely. So the question was, do we do return shipments from a foreign country? That can be answered 2 ways. If it's a product that you originally shipped to, let's say, China for whatever reason, maybe it was a repair on a device for your business, then in that case, you would process a return label. We do have the most robust return service options available on the small package side. And to answer your question, yes, we definitely have international return service options available. The other piece of that question is maybe you're leading towards imports, where you might have not sent something originally to China, but you just want to get it from China to Hawaii, and we do have import services as well. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Please go.
May I see the last slide, that Carter's presentation?
Oh, with the websites.
The website,
Yeah.
I'll bring that up at the end.
Great, thank you.
Sir, in the back.
Yeah. Do you have flat rate tables for destinations and so forth as far as your competition is concerned, or is it all weight and size dependent?
Great question. The question was, do we have a flat rate table as far as like cost by service? Is it based on specific size and weight? So my response to that is it's probably not as simple as what you're looking for. We do provide rate charts, but discounts are based on your gross weekly transportation charges on my side. So the more you spend, it's kind of like the Costco idea, right? The more you buy, the more affordable it gets. The more you spend when you're shipping, the more affordable your shipments become. Right off the bat, we're going to give you discounts in place. We're not going to charge you a published rate. But again, the more you can leverage your transportation spend, the higher those discounts become. To add to your question, something to keep in mind, there's 2 ways that a transportation company on my side, the small package side, will bill you. There's something called actual weight, which is if you put your product on a scale, that's the actual weight, what the scale tells you. There's also dimensional weight. And so that's when you're starting to ship. So dimensional weight is basically if you take the length times the width times the height of a product and you divide it by 139, if that will be your dimensional weight. Length times width times height divided by 139. So a transportation company will always charge you the greater of the two. So if your dimensional weight number is larger than your actual weight, you're going to get charged dimensional weight. If it's vice versa, then you get charged the actual weight. Does that make sense? So if you're shipping a pillow in a box, I can guarantee you're probably going to be charged dimensional weight, or a box full of feathers. But if you're going to ship a box full of nuts and bolts, you're going to probably get charged actual weight. Make sense? Does that answer your question? Okay, you're welcome. But there's ways we can work with you on that. Any other questions?
Do you have ODC centers on each of the neighbor islands right now?
To my knowledge, the question was, do we have ODC centers on each of the neighbor islands? And all the international comes through Honolulu, and so ODC is on Honolulu.
So ODC is only international, but if we wanted to get into the ODC system, tagging starting on neighbor islands, like if we're doing production on neighbor islands and then it's going into containers or into parceling, is that a service that you have?
I'm not sure if can you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
Is the purpose of the ODC center to tag the package? And if so, the packages that are packaged on neighbor islands, do they have capability to have that ODC marked on the neighbor island as the starting point, rather than coming to Honolulu and starting from there?
I think really how the air network works is that everything flows through the Honolulu hub and then gets onto those jets and then goes foreign. So your question was, do we have ODC locations on the neighbor islands and does it get tagged there prior to coming to Honolulu? Is that essentially the question? So no, we don't have ODCs on the outer islands. We just control that through Oahu. And again, ODC is really there to capture and double check the paperwork that you filled out. And so again, the point of that is to minimize the potential for customs hold for incorrect or missing information, right? And so the service level on the label actually lets us know whether it's international, and then that's what sends it to ODC versus domestic. Domestic packages don't go through ODC. Did that answer your question? Absolutely.
Quick question here, online question. When, again, it's case by case, we understand. But in your experience, when does a shipper usually stop calling Peter and start calling Carter? Like,
okay.
At what point?
Yeah.
Is it like
right away?
3 pallets a week, or I mean, how do you? Just generally speaking.
Yeah. So again, the question was when does a shipper stop calling me as a small parcel representative and start talking to Carter on the air freight and ocean freight side? And again, there's some variables in there, as you can imagine. I was going to say that. But it really depends on your pricing on my side, and it depends on the pricing on Carter's side. And Carter and I can work together to find that sweet spot for you. That as your business starts to grow, usually shippers will start off with me, and then as their business starts to grow, or if they go from a business to consumer model to a business to business model, you're going to start shipping larger volume, business to business versus business to consumer typically. So that in that case, if there's a change in your business model or business just continues to grow at a rapid rate where I start to become more expensive, or you notice you think your costs are getting too high, they bring it to my attention. I bring in Carter, we sit down and find you a sweet spot as far as a weight break, right? And so we'll determine, okay, for instance, anything over 250 pounds as a total shipment weight should just start moving with Carter on the ocean, or should start moving with Carter on the air. Anything under that total shipment weight of 250 pounds should move with me. And so it's really a case-by-case scenario. I'm sorry I don't have a specific answer for you. But I mean, it all varies based on your commodity type and where you're going and how much you ship, and your pricing on both sides.
Speaking of commodity type, there's a question about temperature. of shipments. And some of the companies that we've been mentoring, well, as you know, one's making candy or chocolates, and there's others that are making soaps and these kinds of things that could be temperature sensitive in the transit process. Can UPS work with the shipper to figure that out somehow? What is the optimal solution there?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, great question. The question is when you have a perishable item that you're shipping, what can UPS provide as far as capabilities or industry insight to help out those shippers? Out of Hawaii, I'll tell you what, we have the most perishable shippers out of any other state in the nation, whether it's pineapples or, I mean, pineapples aren't very perishable, but whether it's raw fish or ice cream or pharmaceuticals. The bottom line is that we work with every industry across the board. We never share proprietary information. We're very, when a business explains to us something that's a trade secret for them, we do not repeat that. However, general information on industries about using gel packs to help you monitor temperature, including you can also put temperature measurement devices within your packages that will send your cell phone an alert if your package gets to a certain temperature. You can use dry ice with us as well. As long as you keep it under 5 pounds, it's not considered a dangerous goods shipment, so keep that in mind. But basically, as far as what we can provide from a transportation perspective, we are the only carrier. Well, I know my competition does not have a reefer, which we consider a refrigerator, at their main hub on Oahu. We do. And so that's why a lot of the perishable shippers do utilize UPS Small Parcel, because we can essentially have them drop off their shipment, or we'll pick it up and we'll put it immediately in our reefer, which is a temperature controlled environment. Then after that point, the shipper is always packaging their, if it needs to be temperature controlled, they're always including dry ice or including gel packs, and we can help strategize with you on that. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the shipper, but we can definitely share some industry knowledge, what we've worked with before, how we can help you, and definitely you could take advantage of our reefer. We build you a special operating plan with our operations team to make sure your packages are segregated and they get into that controlled environment. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, great, thank you. That's all for the online questions. Are there any other questions from the live audience here?
Do your labeling systems translate into multiple languages so that when the label goes on a package, it's English on this side and then transfers to...
That's an excellent question. So the question was, when you print a label in Hawaii, it's obviously going to be in English, but once it hits that destination country, does that destination country receive that label information in their foreign language? That's a good question. I think it's all scanned in, to be honest with you, and they're just expected to speak English. I just think.
To the best of my knowledge, it's all English.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, when I email, so I email like China, Japan, Germany, it's always in English.
And just like our counterparts that we work with in foreign countries, if you have one location here and you have a warehouse in China, I'm working with my counterpart, who is pretty much the mirror image of me in China, and we're talking in English. And so I guess you could say, the common language of business around the world is English. So to answer your question, I don't have an exact answer, but I would say no, it stays in English.
For example, I know in Japan, where you could say the language is quite different than it is here, nonetheless, every address in Japanese is, in their postal system, is tagged to a Romaji or Roman character address. So the system handles it. Mm-hmm. Maybe not the UPS system explicitly, but the general system will handle it. Right? You can send a letter to the same address from Oahu in English or in Japanese. You have, even the Japanese part, you have to write Japan at the bottom, where the US postal system can't get it to Japan, right? But if you put the rest of the address, except for the word Japan, put the rest of the address in Japanese, it'll get there exactly the same delivery, right? There's no benefit to doing it in Japanese.
To add to Rob's comment, I would say in any case, if that is happening, it's up to that country, and the country just does it, not the transportation carrier. Does that make sense?
Brenda?
Yeah, I would add to what Peter said, that at least in Shanghai, we had a very active trade facilitation task force that worked at length with customs throughout China. Specifically, they would work on doing it digitally, and they had everything in Chinese. The Chinese had it all in Chinese. So if the products were coming in, they have to translate it, and they do into Chinese. But they were doing a lot on codes, so they were harmonizing the codes and matching the codes so that they had some idea, except when you got into specific details on pharmaceuticals and food products.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Anything else?
As a vendor at the Tokyo Gift Fair, sometimes we'll have a potential buyer that will come to us and ask what would be the estimated shipping and duty on the products that we're selling. Is that under your welcome program? Is that something that we could have in preparation to say if they were to buy X, you know, this would be
well, the question was if you have a foreign buyer come to your business and say they want to buy a commodity or a product from you, and they want to know what that cost is, what can we provide that business to be able to quote a cost for that customer? And to answer that question, it's on my side, it's really, we set you up with your own account number, and we set you up with your pricing based on, and within that pricing structure we set you up with, we do provide growth bands. So, and bands, God forbid business slows, we provide you that flexibility in your pricing so that you can accurately quote one of your customers what an estimated cost would be. And then in addition to that, that could be done through a rate chart, which is a hard copy if you don't have access to the internet. But we all have smartphones these days too. So UPS.com does have a time and cost calculator, and I recommend utilizing that because that's going to give you your most accurate cost. And to even take that one step further, create a user ID, create a password, let me know, and if I can set you up to see your discounted rates that are specific for your business through your login. And that way you can put in, you know, the origin zip, destination zip, service level, weight, and dimensions, and you're going to get a very accurate cost. Mm-hmm.
Any last questions? Okay, with that, let's close. I'm going to shut down the webinar, but thank you to Peter and Carter very much. It was very informational. We'll have a table at the back if you'd like to have any one-on-one conversations with them in the back there, sitting down. So please feel free, and thank you for coming. I hope you learned something. Please look at the HPEC website and or the DBET website to see any of the upcoming seminars that we're doing, and sign up to be on the mailing list to make sure you're notified of those. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.